I got home that night. I cried. I got down on my knees and I said, I am done. At the age of 17, I really started drinking to fit in, and I was in complete denial that it was an issue. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tell anybody. The amount of liquor stores on, at every light here in the US. It doesn't matter what shopping center is you're passing by, it's almost you're going to pass a liquor store. I got down to the local bar and I thought, what am I doing? This is so inappropriate for me to be sitting here by myself, surrounded by a bunch of guys. What is this? Well, I don't want this life. So I pick up the phone, I call my dad, and I tell him, I'm ready to quit. I don't know how to stop. Can you help me? And he said, no, you need to learn how to stop on your own. And he hung up the phone. And that was really the motivation that I needed.
So tell me about what you do and your story and what brought
Sure.
you here.
Yeah, I am a executive success coach that specializes in helping high achievers get sober. And I created my own methodology to do that, to help them get on the other side of alcohol. And I've been sober myself for 11 and a half years. But it wasn't until July of last year that I made the pivot into this career. I was focused on sales coaching, and consulting for the last 6 years. And then prior to that, being in corporate and doing sales my entire career there as well in various industries. So it's been a really beautiful change. It's very life-giving, and I would not change this. I hope to retire doing this work. It's very fulfilling, and to be able to watch somebody go from my life is a mess to I'm doing great, and here's all the things that are happening. It's just beautiful to watch and witness and be part of.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, that's a big change from sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So, you've been doing it for the last year,
hmm
and
Really
were you
since
work?
July. So what, seven
Oh,
months?
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And were you in an office before or working from home?
No, I've always worked from home for the last 7 years. Yeah.
Oh,
So
lovely.
no
So,
change.
yeah, I know so many people now that are working from home and they just love it for not having to
hmm
go in the office
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
great.
Yeah. Brilliant. So tell me more about your story.
Sure. Where would you like me to start?
Wherever you desire.
Okay. Let's see. I'll start with, I guess, yeah, the drinking career. That began, I faded out. Right around, there we go, the age of 17, I really started drinking to fit in. I was one of those really studious children who enjoyed working hard and playing sports and staying out of trouble. Um, but I always felt like I was missing something. And so I started drinking to fit in, to see if I could find what that missing thing was. And within a year, I was a full-blown alcoholic. And it only takes anywhere from 6 to 9 months for a heavy drinker or become an alcoholic. And after I was assaulted by a then friend, that's when the drinking really started to become really heavy. And I ignored it. I didn't want to talk about it. And by college rolled around, I was already, blacking out at parties and forgetting to go to class and things like that. I was very high functioning though, all through school. Got my degree, got a job after school during the recession of 08, 09. And then by the time 2012 rolled around, my drinking had become so bad that my employer had to let me go. And they said, it's due to your performance. And I was in complete denial that it was an issue. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tell anybody. And so that was at the age of 25. And from 25 to 26 and a half, 27, was really when things were full blown um, turn for the worse. And, drinking almost every day, waking up, getting sick. I had the shakes. I had some seizures. I was able to really function and somehow would still get myself to work. But, every single night it was a disaster. And one day nobody was, in my ear saying, hey, you got to quit aging an intervention or you're going to rehab. It was just as if something clicked. And it was a Sunday night. I got down to the local bar and I thought, what am I doing? This is so inappropriate for me to be sitting here by myself, surrounded by a bunch of guys watching football. What is this? Well, I don't want this life. So I pick up the phone, I call my dad, and I tell him, I'm ready to quit. I don't know how to stop. Can you help me? And he said, no, you need to learn how to stop on your own. And I said, well, why can't I have that help? And he goes, no, just quit, just stop. And he hung up the phone. And that was really the motivation that I needed because I got home that night. I cried. I got down on my knees and I begged for forgiveness from God. And I said, I am done. I don't want to do this anymore. Show me a path. Teach me what to do if you're real and give me the guidance. So the next day, I opened up my laptop and I Googled how to get sober on your own. And I found this article about a gentleman who had gone into the CrossFit games and was a heroin addict. And after he came in last place, he decided to lock himself in a closet with bread and jugs of water for 3 days, which is totally extreme. Um, Kicked heroin after 3 days, went to rehab for 90 days, and came out and was clean and stayed clean. Went back into the games the next year, placed third. And, okay, if this guy, extreme athlete, can kick heroin after, 3.5 months of really working hard at it, I can sure as heck kick alcohol. So I signed up for a CrossFit class. I had no idea what to expect and thought this is going to be the journey. And so I get to the gym and there's people all over the place. People are eating chocolate bars, people are eating donuts. I'm like, this isn't a gym. This is weird. So I walk up to the front desk and I said to the guy, I'm here for my appointment. I have to let you know that I'm 48 hours sober in case I get sick or, I drop a weight or something happens. And he's typing away. He's not paying attention to what I'm saying. And I'm like, hello, are you listening? Are you there? I'm really anxious. I need confirmation. And he pivots his chair and he looks at me and he says, hi, my name's Tim and I'm 5 years sober myself. Come on into the gym. So that was the start and the end. It was the end of my drinking and the beginning of my sobriety career. I call it a career because it truly was a drinking sport, career, all the things. And that was on September 18th of 2013. So this work means life to me. It gives me life. It means giving someone else back theirs and to be able to hold space without judgment, to be able to love on somebody as they're going through the process has been a real eye opener for me in my journey. Um, and just because I haven't picked up a drink doesn't mean I don't have the struggle of choosing sobriety every single day. So I share that with clients too of, I don't need to pick up a drink to be selfish. I can be selfish in many different ways. But this work teaches you it's all about other people. It's not about you all the time. Um, and love yourself first, and that's all well and good. But there are so many other people who need the help, and can we make it about them? So that's what I'm choosing, and I'm choosing that daily, and I think I'm getting better at it. As a mom and another one on the way, I'm like, I really have no time to be selfish anymore. It's going to take all the effort to have two babies and run a business and be a mom, be a wife, be all the things. So, I can put that selfishness aside and really focus in on what other people need.
That, yeah, that's amazing because you're right. It's so much more than stopping drinking. Um, and as they say, the hard work begins once you're sober.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a lot of work. It's you look at life completely differently, and you have to start loving yourself and work from there.
Yep.
That's that's a really inspiring story, and for you having children as well, it's and then working with people in addiction, it's you've experienced so much that you can pass on as a mother and as a coach, which is invaluable to people, and the language that you learn and experience that you can bring that they're not alone and they can look to you for support is so incredibly vital for
Hmm.
people in addiction because they do feel alone.
Yep.
And those little steps just to acknowledge that there's something going on. That is, once you acknowledge that there's something going on, that's a massive hurdle. And then
Yeah.
reaching out to somebody, another massive hurdle, but sets you well on your way to recovery.
Yeah, to be able to admit, hey, I've got this going on and I cannot do this on my own. What a gift. What a gift to give yourself, what a gift to give others. What beautiful permission that is. And I don't take that for granted with clients at all. I had a lady even last night say, "Hey, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore and you're the only person that I feel like can get me through this." And I said, "No, I'm not. You have yourself." And I think we often confuse selfishness with self-care. Um, Sobriety is self-care.
Yeah.
It's such a gift, such a blessing to be able to turn around and say, I'm doing this for me, you know?
Mm. Yeah, it's funny. One of the first podcasts that I did was with a friend of mine, and we were talking about being selfish, and I can't remember the words that he used. It was something I'll have to look it up, but we have to be selfish when we're in recovery. They say the addict is selfish, but when we get into recovery, the it's so important that we continue to look after ourselves because that slip is only one drink away. So we've really got to make sure that we're on our top game all the time.
Yep.
And if we're not, it's doing the work to realize what's going on for us and why we're feeling that way. So,
Yeah.
but I can't remember. Um, Let me just see if I can. No, I can't. I haven't got it here, which is such a shame. But he said it's not selfish, and he came up with a great term for it. And yeah, we are our own priority because if we can't be strong enough for ourselves, and we can't be strong enough for our kids or partners or um, in the work that we do.
Yep. Yeah.
It's amazing. So, how are you finding working with your clients. As you said, it's so rewarding and I love it. I absolutely love it. I worked a lot with the homeless as well, which was very chaotic,
Mm.
but just such great people and so rewarding. And it's just a career that I love working in because
Mhm.
being able to help and see them succeed is just beautiful, just amazing.
Yeah, and I'm working on also becoming an interventionist and adding that to the portfolio because what beautiful way to not only help the person of concern, but help the family and change a generation, change the lineage. And I think we often forget how addiction is a family disease and we can trace it back when it started, where it originated, maybe not why, but who started the trend and kind of look at their life and go, okay, this is what they were experiencing in those circumstances. We don't have to repeat that pattern. And if we're the people that stop it, what happens after us?
Yeah.
Everybody talks about building generational wealth and generational um, patterns in that way. I like to look at how are we building the generational health because we have nothing without our health. And once we cut out alcohol, that health journey really does begin, should we choose, right? And to be a model for our children and their children. And, the legacy that I prefer to leave is to tell the truth, no matter what. And it's not about the money, it's about being the voice, being the truth. And for somebody to turn around and say, yeah, she was sober X amount of years before she died, how amazing was that? So to give that gift back to other people um, who are running corporations, running companies, it has this trickle down effect. Right now, I have a client who's running a multi six figure business in the consulting industry, and that person is telling everybody, hey, I've got X amount of days under my belt. And they're looking at him going, you? Really? And it's just so funny to me because I got the same reaction. Like, you? Really? Huh. Interesting. And I told him, I said, you're going to continue getting that until the year, until the 2 year, until the 5 year. I still get it. Why can't you just have one drink? And people just don't seem to understand until they do that work how incapable we are of picking one up and putting it down. It is just not possible. It's never going to be possible. For me, it's life or death. For most addicts, it's life or death. Um, so being able again to communicate that effectively with these clients who then have this trickle down effect within their own businesses or within their own companies, letting people know, hey, this is a journey I'm on and I need accountability as much as I'm already receiving it, but letting you know where I'm at
Yeah.
and how invaluable that is to what the work that they're doing in the world, however they're serving others.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah, it's being a role model. And she said a lot of people, they could be in denial of how much they're drinking or be a functioning addict. And to have somebody at that level say, I'm these many days sober, that's amazing. And it gives other people the courage to speak out because the norm then is not just to leave work and go to the pub, and
Right.
it's looking at other options, other activities, other inspirations, and looking at role models to see how they do it, and opening up. So I think that's really, really amazing that he's doing that. She's doing that. It's great.
Yeah, one of the other things that I love is the self-awareness that comes with sobriety. Um, One of the things we talked about yesterday on our call, this client and I, was the amount of liquor stores on, you know, at every light here in the US. It doesn't matter what shopping center is you're passing by, it's almost you're going to pass a liquor store. And if it's not the liquor store, it's the gas station, and the gas station has the alcohol inside. So at any point, you can go and get something. It doesn't matter at any time of the day. And here in the US, some of our grocery stores are 24 hours. So you have access to this poison all times of the day, all times of the night, every single day, even on holidays, you know.
Yeah.
And during COVID, to keep liquor stores open as a mandatory product that we needed, which was essential, really got under my skin. Um, I don't know if you know this, but women had an increase in drinking. So after COVID happened, 2021, they did a study and women started drinking and it increased the number from like 10% all the way up to 32%. And that was worldwide. And I think a lot of that drove because we were either losing jobs or had to quit our jobs so we could be home with our kids who were already home dealing with the mental repercussions of, what happened. And then on top of that, we're trying to remain, be in a position, work from home, have children home, do homeschooling, all these different things. So it didn't surprise me that that number was so high, but unfortunately, it hasn't come down. And so we're seeing more diseases, more cancer, more issues mentally going on with women in the last 5 years than we have in, centuries when it comes to alcohol. And that's saying something. So I truly believe that this particular profession that I'm finding myself in is really at the beginning of something beautiful. And if I can change one life, and I will take that to the grave. If one person chooses to get sober and stay sober, I am extremely feel like I've made a big difference.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I feel the same. And as far as COVID's concerned, I've said it before, my thoughts when that hit the world wasn't how how many how fatal COVID would be. It was, what about domestic abuse? What about addiction? What about um, the homeless? Are they able to get their hands on alcohol? Because everywhere was shut here. Um, because if they don't get it, they're gonna have a attack and they could have an episode and die. And obviously the hospitals weren't equipped to deal with homeless people. So that was where my mind immediately get got went to. And in the UK, things like domestic abuse wasn't addressed for months. And in my mind, it's no wonder that people started drinking more because we do it at the end of the day as a coping mechanism. And what other coping mechanisms were there really? When you're locked in your house,
Right.
feeling like you've got no support. So it wasn't a surprise to me at all. And we are only just looking at the repercussions of it all now and people starting to realize and look for help, which is so
Hmm.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah, that it's taken us this long to mentally recover and to physically recognize something's wrong with my body. I'm so grateful that I had a baby during 2020, because I woke up to the reality of this is not normal. And I was one of those rebellious kids that chose to just continue living life. I didn't follow the rules in any way, shape, or form. I got a lot of hell for it, and yet it's something that awarded me with my voice because for years I just sat back and watched and never really took part of a change or a revolution. And so this is a revolution that I'm standing on the forefront of, that I get to be part of and watch, younger generations stand up and say, I'm not participating in that, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And it's just such a blessing. I have two younger siblings who could care less about alcohol, care less about drugs, care less about partying. They're more focused on family. They're more focused on building the life that they desire rather than I need to fit in. And so, it's really the 35 and older crowd who's still trying to figure out their way and figure out, who am I? What's my identity outside of alcohol? And where am I going? How do I leave a mark? And how do I create purpose? And so those are my people. Um, and I know that a change is coming, a shift is happening. I'm really, really pumped to watch it, to witness it, to be part of it. And, you know, aside from COVID, to see how we as a world come together and shift out of this mental health crisis that we find ourselves in, because more importantly, people are truly waking up to realize what's not serving them anymore, you know, between drug addiction, alcohol addiction, but more importantly, the lifestyle that they find themselves in, and the food and the corporate job. It's just been such a blessing to see all of that shift. I think we're going to see more of that within the next 5 to 10 years for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's yeah, it is going the right way, and it is fantastic to hear from people like yourself who are advocating for it and helping people that need a listening ear, a non-judgmental listening ear. So as you said, it's inside of us all to do. Um, and having somebody who's not judging, has been through it, is a special gift to be able to give somebody else.
Mhm.
So I thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Tell me what your website is and where people can find you and everything.
Well, the best place to kind of stalk me, if you will, would
Mhm.
be LinkedIn. That's the platform that I most hang out on. And then my website is Brittany Young Wealth, WEALTH.com. BrittanyYoungWealth.com.
Amazing. I'll make sure that all the links and everything are in the description as well. And is there anything else you want to say? And any more inspiration? Because I just love it. It's the more people that I speak to, the more hope I'm getting that there are so many people out there that want to help others not be in the position that we've been in. And as I said, it's a job that I enjoy because we know it's possible and it can be done. So yeah, I
Yeah.
just it's given me so much hope. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. It's a difficult, sad topic to talk about, but it doesn't have to be. We can
Right.
have, I laugh at my story now, but I wouldn't laugh at anybody else's. But mine, I do find hilarious because I've seen the mountain that I've climbed and all the hard work that I made for myself when I really didn't need to.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. Um, and I think the hardest part about laughing at my story was the abuse. Aside from that, well, some of the stupid things, some of the financial things that I did. I'll tell people, hey, I spent 30 grand in 2 years. I don't know where the money went. I don't know who I spent it on. Half of it probably was food, to be honest. And, the other half was paying off a bar tab. But I can look back and joke on that and also be proud, you know, and, um, and say that was supposed to happen. All of it was supposed to happen. And I think if you're in this cycle, what you're experiencing is supposed to happen. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Don't discount the journey. You're not the past, but you can be emboldened by your choices. And you don't have to stay in this cycle. There are ways to get help. There's so many people like myself who are out there saying, what do you need? How can I help you? And all it takes is the courage to reach out and say, "I- I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm done. I'm ready. Let's do it." And I think that is such a brave thing we get to give ourselves. And, what a beautiful blessing to give to the world when you choose and turn around and say, hey, I'm not conforming to societal norms. I'm going to do things differently. And you become an outlier, but in such a beautiful way.
Yes,
Yeah.
I completely agree. Brittany, that is amazing. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, anything going forward that you want to send to me to share or post out to the world? Because, as I said, we all work together and to get the message out there and help as many people as possible. So anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Brilliant. And please send me all your links and everything as well, and I will get them
Okay.
put in the podcast.
You got it.
You're a
Thanks, Emma.
superstar. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Brittany. Really
Absolutely. Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
You as well. Bye.
Bye.